Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. Afternoon, Beer Geeks. It's Friday again. They come round thick and fast, don't they, Brad?
Once a week, Johnny. Once a week.
Yes, I guess that's exactly how much it comes around. I hope you've all got a beer in your hand. I'm about to head off to London for some beers, which will be the first beer I've had this week.
Oof. London, eh? Big smoke.
The big smoke. Yeah, it feels weird saying I'm going to London now, given that it used to just be, I used to say I'm going into town, which is bizarre as well, because London's definitely not a town.
And you were already in town as well, where you lived.
I was already in there, very much.
Were you zone 2 or zone 1?
I was zone 2.
What zone are you now, Johnny?
I'm not even zone 9, which is the last zone.
Wow.
I think I'm like 11 or 12.
Flipping heck.
Yeah.
That's,
I'm ramping up again. Now the book is almost finished.
Weekly book check.
I feel like I've been saying it for about 6 months now. The book is almost finished. I'm doing the proofs now. And emergency taking photos, or indeed asking Brad for photos to fill in gaps that I didn't think about. But yeah, so that's nearly done. So I'm ramping up my good beer hunting work again. So I'm doing some podcast interviews today, and then I think I might swing by the Southampton Arms just because I won't be far away from it.
For old time's sake.
Yeah, that's my Friday plans.
Treat yourself to a luxury Scotch egg or something.
Exactly. You had some big Friday plans last week, right?
Yeah, man, I was at Brew London last week on one of the trade days, so it was full of industry folk, so I got to hang out with lots of friends that I've made over the years and meet lots of new friends, Johnny. It was great, and also meet lots of beer tubers who were there as well. So met a lovely guy who I've actually met him before, but I think I was too drunk to sort of really remember, but Craig tracks. From Kent Beer Reviews. Mm-hmm. I met Rasco from Rasco and Disco.
Did you?
Yeah, lovely guys, both of them.
They love to dig into our back catalogue, which always makes me feel uncomfortable because we're actually going to talk about it in a bit in relation to a question we got on this week's video. But our original content, our early content, is not great.
No, it's great. Not great is the word. Yeah.
To see Rasco and Disco digging around the depths. The murky stuff.
Yeah. That's always... Oh, yeah, so Rasco told me that Disco didn't like my Lowbrow episode, the latest Lowbrow episode.
Wow, so what a thing to say.
He just said, I don't know, he sort of slagged it, and but apparently he's not leaving the house at the moment, so...
because he's scared of you now?
Yeah, because he's scared of me. But Rasco got me to record a video message telling him that he's in trouble for hating my video, and I told him to get the fuck out of the house as well. So if you're listening, get out of the house. It's good. It's a beautiful world out there. So yeah, that was nice. Met those guys. Met the man from Bowery Island, who was always fun. Didn't really get to talk to him much. Tried to grab me for a video, but I was like, mate, I'm not really working today, so I just enjoyed the beer. Met lots of old faces. Who else did I see? I was hanging about with Bryn, who used to work with Rob, who's done various sort of beer things known as Mank Beard. And then I met a new friend, Johnny.
I like the endless positivity of you, Brad. Like, you don't meet new people, you meet new friends, whereas I meet new strangers.
Friends for life, man. Yeah. So I met two. I would say I met two new friends, and also Rasco and Kent Beer Reviews, also new friends. But I met Radim from Budvar, who's the UK ambassador, and Johnny let me do side pouring in my drunken state. So I was
how good were you at the side pour?
Probably
while
not very good. I don't think I was very good. I don't think there's any video evidence, but yeah, I don't think I was very good. But he was treating me to all sorts of special beers and yeah, lovely stuff. So I enjoyed that very much. And I met a guy called Ollie, who is the founder of Dig Brew.
Oh right, yeah, up in Manchester.
Yeah,
not Manchester.
It's Birmingham. Digbeth.
Birmingham. Yeah. Apologies to
Digbeth,
Mancunians there and Brummies.
And Brummies. Yeah. So he's super cool guy. Went to art school like myself. He kind of went to St Martin's as well, although at that point it wasn't St Martin's and it was called Byam Shore. He was a fine artist, and he also went to the Slade, which is incredibly hard to get into. But yeah, super cool guy. He's this Johnny. We need to make a film about what he's doing because he's making. I don't know if I should announce it on here. I think I can announce because he was telling me about it. He's making a fucking beer opera, mate. A beer opera.
Wait, but what the singer's drunk, or is it about? It's about beer.
About beer. It's about beer in the Middle Ages. About the women who made beer in Britain in the Middle Ages.
Oh my god! About the Brewsters.
Yeah, who were basically then portrayed as witches, and then the men took control of it. So he's making this amazing operatic thing. He was telling me he'd been to Valencia to meet the person who's writing it, and I think maybe meeting the choral choir or something that are going to sing it. Sounds bonkers, dude, but like amazing.
If there were two worlds that I never thought would meet,
yeah,
it would be craft beer.
Yeah.
And opera.
I know, right? It's insane.
But the man from Dig is making it happen.
Yeah. Super cool guy. Like, really loved him. Thought he was awesome. So interesting, all the different things. He does all the really cool, like, zany looking artwork that's on the Dig. I used to love the little stubby bottles that used to have the glow in the dark wax on the top. Apparently, he used to hand dip those, which is why I don't do it anymore. It took too long. But yeah, man. So met him. I recorded Beer Fridge podcast with.
Were they down?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Your canny Glaswegian guy cornered me when I was looking for food. I was really hungry because I drunk quite a lot, and he got me to record while I was trying to eat. So I don't know what that's going to be like. But
it's sort of ASMR of Brad chewing on burgers.
I'm not chomping at that point, but I'm certainly chomping at the bit to eat some food because I was absolutely ravenous at that point. But yeah, Brew London was great, man. I saw all sorts of new gadgets. Don't know whether there's any lowbrow episodes in them. There's certainly lots of new technology that was coming through that I was quite interested in as well as cracking beer, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Did you discover any new great breweries?
That's a good question. I mean, I'd never had the Dig stuff before, so I was really
was
enjoying
it up there?
that.
Good.
Yeah, it was brilliant. They had some crazy strong. I don't even know what it was. It was like soupy Nipa type stuff that was like strong. I think it was Nipa. I can't even remember. I was quite drunk at that point. At that point, I was hiding from the security guards and pretending that I was on the stall.
Right. So you weren't technically supposed to be behind.
No. I was doing my best sort of fugitive Brad, where I was basically
you are a man who can very easily blend in, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, definitely a blender.
Yeah, it was all good fun, man. So I enjoyed it very much. And this weekend coming up, well, actually not this weekend, next weekend, we're hopefully doing it all again, Johnny.
Yes, hopefully we will be at London Craft Beer Festival on Friday. It is slightly dependent on two things. One is how our shoot in Margate goes,
yes,
and whether we finish it and whether we're too hungover the next day. And B, on whether I've managed to fit in a tooth examination before I have all 4 wisdom teeth plucked from my body in one go under general anaesthetic. So it's possible we'll be skipping a video and a podcast, depending on how that extraction goes in a couple of weeks. But hopefully we'll still make it to LCBF at the very least. It'll be, because I have to self-isolate before the operation, London Craft Beer Festival will be my last hurrah.
Wow.
So I'll go out all guns blazing. Imperial stouts only.
I don't think I've heard of anyone getting all 4 wisdom teeth out at the same time. It's quite epic amount of teeth to have extracted.
To be honest, I'm doing it because I'm a coward, Brad. I like to think not many things scare me, but dentists do.
I mean, I don't really like a dentist either. So you're actually scared of a dentist?
Yeah, I had the weirdest thing. So I went to the dentist. I didn't go to the dentist for like a decade, and went about 2 years ago for the first time. And he had to do... I got away pretty lucky. I only had to do 1 proper filling. And as he was doing it, I got the shakes so bad. I wasn't terrified. I wasn't crying. I wasn't trying to get out of the chair or anything. But just the amount of adrenaline in my body trying to keep me present meant that I couldn't stop shaking, and he had to stop for a bit while the mad little panic attack went.
Oh God.
So basically, I'm having all 4 out because if you do that, they'll put you under general, not local.
Yeah,
so I don't have to watch the fucking needles and stuff. So
it's a good shout. I mean, I tell you, I can top your 10-year stint by saying I didn't go for nearly 20 years.
Bradley.
Since I was about 15 or 16, I didn't go, and then so 16. Yeah, I went maybe. When I was about 36, 37, 36, let's say, just pre-COVID, because I had really bastard toothache. And I couldn't, whatever I was doing, I couldn't get around it. I've had toothaches before and they go after a while. This one wasn't going anywhere. And it got to the point where my whole head was so painful. It felt like there was a hot nail driving into the side of my face. It was crazy painful. And I went there and they were like, oh yeah, you need your tooth sorted out ASAP or whatever. I think I had a crack in the tooth or something, and it had, stuff inside it. And then it went. My pain went away, so I left it for another 6 months or something till it reared up again. And I was like, "Fuck, this is worse than any pain I've ever had, apart from when I stabbed myself in the eye with a branch."
That was a good night, that one.
That was an awful night for me, yeah. But anyway, this was nigh on as painful as that. And when I went back, they said basically I'd left it too long, and now they had to take the tooth out. So they actually had to extract my tooth, and the fucker didn't want to come out. So they kept trying to pull it. It was a girl. It was a lady dentist, and I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want to try and remove someone's tooth. But she broke it about 5 times pulling it out. So I'm thinking it's done because I feel like a big crunch, and then she's pulled something out. And then she was going, oh dear, sort of.
That's a bit of it.
It was absolutely horrendous. Obviously your face is numb, but you can feel them pulling it out from way deep up in your jaw. And they're twisting it. I could feel it twisting, shearing, snapping.
Okay, note to self: before dental operations, don't speak to Brad.
You're going to be all right. General anaesthetic. You're out cold, dude. What I'm saying is, you're fucking sensible. It was one of the worst experiences I've had in quite a few years.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one lesson about health which I've learned in my 34 years on this earth, it's don't wait and think it will go away.
Yeah. Well, I've also got a bit of a fear of a dentist as well. So that was why I put it off. I was like, fuck that. I don't want to.
And now you're even more scared of dentists, particularly lady dentists.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%.
There you go. Anyway, this is a beer podcast. So yes, that's the reason that we might not be at LCBF, but hopefully we will be, because Johnny's now going to drink away the flashbacks of Brad having his teeth extracted. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you there. If we are there, it will probably be Friday Eve. So if you are there, do come up and say hi, unless Brad is hungry. Shall we talk about the video?
Bring burgers. Bring me burgers
Or bring burgers.
sausages if you want to come and have a chat. Yeah, then we'll talk.
Right, yes, this week's video. So this was a solo effort, not to be outdone by Brad's sterling solo work the week before. I thought I'd have a crack at one myself. Significantly more beery.
Very beery.
But
beery.
Equally as nerdy.
Oh, nerdier, way nerdier.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah, man, yours is way nerdier. I mean, mine's geeky, but yours is nerdy, right?
Right.
It's,
okay. So those are two different things. Right.
Yeah, for sure. Mine's like gadget geekery. Yours is super nerd, super beer nerd. Yeah, but great, man. The presentation was excellent. Excellent.
I wish I'd had a PowerPoint behind me with perhaps some chemical compound drawings.
Nice.
That would have really just been the cherry on the diacetyl.
Definitely. And if you could have worn a white lab jacket as well, that would
should have done. I didn't. I meant to put. I got my glasses out, even though I wouldn't need my glasses for that particular situation. I thought I should probably wear glasses for this. But then I forgot. The camera started rolling and I forgot my glasses, so I'm annoyed at myself. Yeah. But it's gone down really well. I think. We'll get into it with the comments, but we realised that we hadn't done much sort of entry level technical information for a long time, and it was something that was requested a lot in the comments and in our Patreon forum. Like, I'd love to know more about off flavors, about how they present, where they come from, how to avoid them. So that was where that came from, and I think we'll do some more on off flavors and perhaps some of the more niche ones, or the ones that you often find in wild beer, because I have this real very niche beer in my bonnet about people are so undiscerning about wild ales. They're just like, oh well, stick a bit of lactic acid in there, and there you go, it's a sour beer. And people don't talk about structure and about nuance and all this kind of stuff that we do with IPAs, lagers, stouts. We just we don't look for the nuances. Anyway, might do something on that. And also, there was a great comment, which isn't one I've selected to talk about, but there was a great comment asking us to do the opposite of Wednesday's video, like all the good flavours and where they come from. So we're definitely going to do that one, and we'll get you in for that one, Brad, as well.
Yeah.
And
this is the thing, right? So I was gonna ask you. I was gonna let you get more into the flow of the questions and the video and stuff, but. Some of these off flavours, do you think any of them... I know you sort of said that potentially diacetyl could be excused in Czech lagers because they already have decoction and that kind of roasty, caramelly kind of thing. But are there any off flavours that you think are all right? Do you like some of them? Like the banana-y, estery one and stuff like that. I mean, are they... Do you think they're all right in some styles of beer?
It's an interesting thing, because being as deep into beer and as geeky as I am, it's kind of like, I remember my music teacher at school had perfect pitch, and I was like, that's so cool. And he was like, actually, it's really frustrating, because when you're listening, he says, like, when he's listening to a piece of music, if something is ever so slightly out of tune, it's all he can think about. Yeah. So I feel a little bit that way about off flavours. Like when I have a lager, if there's just a tiny hint of green apple or of banana, it completely ruins it for me. And it's kind of the same with diacetyl in IPAs. I had diacetyl in I think it was a St. Austell tribute, which I'd never had before, and I just drain poured it. I was like, I can't be doing with this, even though it was a small amount. And it's... Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, no, there's not a single off flavour that I can tolerate.
So, I mean, so I think what we can all learn from this, Johnny, is ignorance is bliss. So
sometimes. I put that video out in the world because I want more people to go through what I go through every time I drink a beer, which is
exactly.
Braced for disappointment.
I think there've been quite a lot of scientific tests into groups of people, and that the kind of cleverer you are, the less happy you probably are as well. So that old idiom is 100% true. Ignorance is bliss. In whatever sort of thing that we're talking about in life, I think If you don't know any better,
what a wonderful message for the craft beer channel to put out into the world.
Yeah, I just think if you don't know any better, like, then you're gonna have a good time, right? I don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it? It is a weird one because I like to consider myself, we're both enlightened thinkers, Johnny. But it comes with a burden of just worrying about stuff like the whole time, or just like you say, like I haven't got perfect pitch and I'm not a super taster, thank God. But people that are super tasters and all that kind of stuff, where they just have to send pints back because they're getting stuff that nobody else can taste. It must be like crying wolf, like. The barman's like, mate, I don't taste any of that, what you're saying. But you're like, no, it tastes of this, it tastes of that. And nobody else can, none of your mates can taste it. Only you can taste it. And it's horrible. I guess it's like that thing where people who hate Brussels sprouts because they can taste that weird bitterness thing. Mm-hmm. But only a certain number of people can do it. It must be a burden, Johnny. It must be an absolute burden.
It's tough being me, Bradley. I'm not. Are
you claiming you're a super taster? No, you've got a very attuned palate, definitely.
Yeah, but that's all through experience. I don't think physiologically I'm any different to anybody else. Like, obviously, I don't have quite a dull palate, which some people do have. But it's just it's partly knowing so much about beer, and it's partly knowing that I could be drinking something that doesn't have this fucking flaw. If I'd chosen something else at the bar. I wouldn't be sat there going, why the fuck is there diacetyl in this bitter? So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. There's so many sayings about knowledge. It's like ignorance is bliss. A little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. Like these kind of things. I definitely subscribe to a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. And again, we'll get into that when we get into the comments. But I don't think ignorance is bliss. I think it's... the fact that I know all this stuff, the fact that you know most of this stuff, means that when we find something amazing, the amount of joy you get from that is tenfold.
Yeah, I'm being silly, obviously, when I'm saying this, because the whole thing of Craft Beer Channel is we're exploring and we're drinking stuff, we're trying new things, we're discovering stuff. So
the thing I say is the more you know, the more you can shut the fuck up and enjoy it.
Exactly. Amen.
Amen. So let's dig into the comments. What did you find, Bradley, that tickled you?
I quite liked Kevin Lawrence's comment. Beer geek meter off the charts. Love the lesson. Thanks for the education. I thought that one was really good. And we had a guy called Dan Calzaretta who said, "You keep making content that is perfect for my beer class at the local community college. Keep up the great work."
I want to go to that community college.
I know, right? I'm just picturing Community on, with Don Glover and.
It's him sat there with oh god, what I can't remember any of the actors there. Chevy Chase, yeah, Chase. That probably wouldn't be so much fun. I think he's a famous dickhead, isn't he?
Yeah, or Alison Brie. That'd be alright.
Alison Brie.
That'd be alright. Sat with Alison Brie. And then my other question. Sorry for hogging all the questions. We posed as the Craft Beer Channel, what's the worst pint you ever had? And Palmada said, worst I've ever had? A fresh can of Foster's, which I enjoyed.
Hey. I think
he's not wrong, is he?
I enjoy the sentiment, but if he's ever had an unfresh pint of Foster's,
now we're talking.
Particularly a warm unfresh Foster's, which is basically what we grew up being told we should enjoy.
Yeah. What about a warm, unfresh can of open Foster's the next day that was on the table? And you were so thirsty that you drank it, but then it had loads of it was a cigarette tray.
Oh my god, Brad, has that happened or are you
no,
just
I haven't
spitballing?
Done that, but I've seen people do that, and it must be the worst pint. It's certainly dusty, Johnny. With the cigarette
dusty
butts.
Cardboard, everything going on.
Nicotine. Maybe get a nicotine buzz from it. I have no idea, but I don't want to try. So yeah,
probably wouldn't be worth the hit either.
No.
Right. Well, so questions? Yeah, the comments I got again, the nerding is going to go off the charts. So Chris Crow messaged to say, I don't know whether I should do a nerdy voice for this because it's so nerdy and I love it.
Go on.
I learned very recently that the cardboard flavour in beer, trans-2-nonanol, is not related to packaging oxidation at all. The compound is actually created in wort production, and dissolved oxygen from the packaging line has nothing to do with it. Check out this paper that goes in depth about it. So I did check out the paper, Brad.
I know you did. I read all the comments.
And it did go in depth.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really interesting that those oxidative flavours aren't necessarily down to the amount of oxygen at package. It's actually the problem is caused earlier. And starts to present when there is oxidation. So I'm going to read. I only read the abstract of that, so I'm gonna delve into the proper thing very soon. So that was a great comment. We love it when people come in with more knowledge than us, and I've learned something. And I also really enjoyed, and this is the comment I've been hinting at throughout the show, Lachlan Crombie's comment.
Yeah.
Who said, "Oh boy, do some Beerstagrammers need to watch this." Oh, yeah. Nice one. Always enjoy vids like this. Good for the knowledge and learning. So we got lots and lots of comments from people saying, like, absolutely love this video. On Facebook in particular, lots of people saying, absolutely love this video. I've learned so much. I've been waiting for this kind of content. And it made me think about the fact that other than in books, and let's be honest, most beer geeks aren't reading those books. They're not reading Randy Mosher, the early Melissa Cole ones, and Charlie Parpazian and people like that anymore. They're reading everything online. And online, there is almost no entry-level technical content out there anymore. Nobody's making it. I think because everybody who's into the world of beer assume people know this and are actually really fucking snobby about people that don't.
Yeah.
But equally, there's lots of people who have a little bit of knowledge, which is a dangerous thing. And I think that's what Lachlan is referring to here. Lots of, I do see beer Instagrammers, beer bloggers sort of talking about, a lot of bitterness from the yeast. And you're like, what? Or they're saying, I'm getting loads of notes of brioche from the hops. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Or they'll talk about elements of the brewing process that are just, gleaned off of Wikipedia that don't actually make sense or really happen anymore.
I guess the problem is, Johnny, a lot of us we're not formally trained, and they're just like reading or watching other people talk about beer to try and understand what it means.
Yeah, exactly. It's a slippery slope because the information that's out there is often flawed or not backed up or just plain nonsense that we, the internet encourages us to waffle more, be more controversial, and to constantly churn stuff out. Yeah. Like to become a successful Beerstagrammer, you've got to post every day on stories, on the main feed. And we certainly don't do that. We probably average about 3 photos a week, which is why our Instagram is so much smaller than everything else we do. But it's not conducive for creating good long-term educational content. And we've always resisted that on YouTube. And I think done a really good job of telling stories, but maybe there's a bit more technical stuff we can do to help Beerstagrammers or Twitterers understand what they're drinking.
Exactly. I think we need to relaunch the kind of beer school kind of thing and do a little course like where we talk about off flavors and we talk about how to pour and like do all these different things, which I think you kind of need to know at the start. We could talk about what flavors come from what components in the beer, whether it's hops, whether it's the yeast, or the malt. We could talk about how wort profiles might affect. Well, that's a bit geeky actually, but we could do all sorts of stuff, man, in around this sort of sphere of sort of entry level learning into the realm of craft beer god.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think that's something I'm going to have a little look into, and we can work on a playlist and do more stuff like that. Because it was also, it was really, because we've learned so much along the way. It was really easy to be engaging. Like it was stuff that just sort of rolled off the tongue and stuff that I'd know, and I've done lots of corporate tastings and stuff around that kind of thing, and it was I was really happy with how it came out. I thought it was going to be desperately dry, but it felt all right.
Yeah, man, I think it was better than alright. I think it was an excellent video, and the more people that see it, the better, because it's super helpful. Like, it's fun to watch people talking about what a particular beer they might be drinking, the latest drop or something. But it's not really evergreen content. It's not universal. If you're around the other side of the world, you can't try that beer. But if you can get an understanding of why that beer might taste great, what it is that you like about that beer, you can seek out other beers that might be similar, and obviously you will enjoy beer the more that you know.
Absolutely.
Despite me saying ignorance is bliss.
Yep, there you go. We've done a full Tory style U-turn in the space of 30 minutes. That's all we've got time for this week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching our video. If you enjoy what we do join our Patreon, and then you can put video ideas our way as well, like lots of people do every week. And there's a link in the description of this podcast. Otherwise, we'll see you next Wednesday for a video, and maybe see you at LCBF if you can make it on the Friday evening session. Love and beer. The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's craft beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/the craft beer channel. And if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food and homebrewing. Love and beer.